Okay, so I hope you have already understood that thing, like as we discussed in our first session, what are the prerequisites, and as you can see
Yes.
here, this is the infra for test lab which we have to create. Okay, so I have already configured the domain controller. As you can see here, DC is my domain controller. So let me log in here. So this is my domain controller. As you can see, my domain name is techamtech.com. Okay, and we have configure ADDS, DSCP, and DNS roles in that particular domain controller. Okay, and in that particular session, what we will do, we will configure this machine as a delivery controller. But as I already configured one machine with that particular host name, so for you, I will make it DDC1. Okay, because right now I do not want to delete that particular virtual machine, so that is fine. Only host name will be changed. Okay,
Okay.
and if after our next session, means after this session, what we will do, we will configure the hypervisors, which is Gen server 01 and Gen server 02. And after that, we have to perform all the operations from our client machines or end users machine. Okay, so as you can see here, I've already uh, configured one Windows 10 machine in VMware Workstation. So right now it is for no use for this particular session, because in this session we are going to deploy delivery controller. Okay, so we will use that Windows 10 machine to manage all the infra in our next session. So let's wait for the operating system. I have just deployed it. And do you have any issues with the domain controllers, like how to add machines into the domains and how to?
No, no.
Okay, so that will be fine. So let me enter some password for local administrator. Okay, perfect. So it's almost done now. Let me log in into that TTC. So are you connected with your laptop or desktop right now?
Yes.
Means
With
no,
phone.
yeah, with phone.
Yes.
So is it visible to you, my screen, the entire
Yes,
screen?
everything is visible and
What is
cleared.
the screen size of your mobile phone?
It's 655 thing.
But it's not
It's
that
clearly
much
visible.
compatible.
Everything is.
Okay, then I have no issue. You have to see, buddy. So if you are good,
Yes.
then no issue. Okay. So first of all, what we have to do, we have to install some VMware tools here, like to maximize this. So let me go to the C drive and we have to install this. That is perfectly fine. Wait for it. And we have already got the IP address from our DSCP server. Let me check which IP address we got. So here we have got IP address of my local router, which is not required in that case, because we want IP address from our DSCP scope, which we have configured in domain controller. As you can see here, here is the DSCP. So
Mhm.
if I go here into the DSCP manager, so as you can see here, let me expand this into the IPv4 and into the scope address list. So as you can see here, my old machine is getting IP address from my DSCP scope. So what I have to do here, I have to go to the setting into that particular virtual machine, and to the network adapter, we have to make it host only. And after that, we will get some IP address from our DSCP server. Let me refresh it. Okay, so now we are getting IP address from our domain controller. not domain controller, from the DHCP scope which we have created in our domain controller. So if I refresh here now, as you can see, this is a machine which is 10.51, which is getting IP address from our DHCP scope, which is configured into the domain controller. So now what we have to do, first we have to change the,
In VMware, you have changed some settings like in
yeah,
net.
we have to change the host name of this particular machine, and we have to join that machine into the domain, which is techamtech.com. Okay. So what we have to
So
do.
here on this VM
Mhm.
in virtual machine, like in on settings that you have changed it to net.
Yeah, NAT. No. I have earlier it was on NAT, and now I have changed it to host only. Okay, because I do not want my virtual machines to communicate with my internet or broadband router. Okay, so that is the only reason why I have selected host only. Host only means those virtual machines will communicate internally, but those are not, particularly dependent on the internet. Correct.
On the
So
internet.
actually, we do not require internet for creating our infra. Correct. So now what I have to do, I have to go here and then change into the computer name. I can mention DDC1, sorry, DDC-1. And for the domain, what I have to do, I have to enter domain name, that is tech, mtech. And here I have to enter some domain credentials like,
Is that possible? Like suppose you
mhm.
can communicate from your own computer to these virtual machines.
Yeah, I can communicate, but for the same, I have to make some modification in my network settings. Okay, like for that particular VMware workstation, if I go here into the virtual network editor, here I have to add one more adapter. Okay, so with NAT I can
Okay.
easily communicate with my local host, but with host only I will be able to communicate with those
Internal
particular
virtual machines.
internal virtual machines. Okay, so
Okay.
as of now we do not require any NAT configuration. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so here we have joined this into the domain. Click OK, close it, and it is asking to restart. So I'm not planning to restart it right now. What I have to do, I have to manually shut down the machine. Okay, so why I'm doing this, why I am manually shut down the machine, the reason is that at the time of operating system installation, I have allocated only 2 GB of RAM to this virtual machine, but a requirement is for at least 6 GB of RAM. Okay, so now what I will do, I will edit this particular virtual machine, and into the memory I will increase it to 6 GB, like 6144.
To give 6 GB, so we can give it to 5 GB as well, or not?
We can go with that, but for smooth functionality, at least we have to give 6 GB of RAM, and in production we always use 32 or 64 GB. Okay, so for testing purpose 6 GB is fine. Okay, so let me click OK here, and now we can again turn it on the machine. And as I told you earlier, like if I go into the C drive, into the ISOs, then these are the particular ISO file, which is Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop, which you have to download. And I have already explained you from where you will get that files, means ISO files, from the Citrix official website. Okay, so if you unable to download those files, just let me know. I will share a link to you how to download those. Okay, and this is a hypervisor which we will use in our next session, and this is a usual Windows Server 2019 operating system. Okay, so now what I have to do, I have to mount that particular Citrix virtual app and desktop ISO file
Sorry
into
to
that
interrupt. That
delivery
server
control.
2019, it's
Mhm.
a trial one or which one?
It's a trial
Server
one for
2019.
180 days. Now that will be fine for testing perspective, because for testing I'm not going to
Okay.
procure any license. Okay, so
Okay.
now here we are into the
Fine.
delivery controller. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to log in with some domain user account. So in my domain controller, and let me refresh this. So as you can see here, host name is changed now. Okay, and that particular server is getting IP address from our DHCP server, which is 10.51. Okay, so now what we have to do, let me show you the user account which I have created into the Active Directory users and computers. And as you can see here, I have created one user account with Citrix admins. Okay, so this is the administrator account for our domain. And if I click on the properties, so what is the user logon name? Let me check. It's Citrix admin. So now we have to log in here into the delivery controller with a domain admin account which I have created as Citrix admin. Let me try some password. Yeah, it's works. So this is a domain user account and which is a member of administrator group for our domain. Got it?
Okay.
So now we are into the domain controller. So wait for it to launch the server manager. And if I click on local server, as you can see here, uh, we have nothing configured so far on that particular machine. And as you can see here, domain controller, like we have domain, which is this, and this is the host name. Windows firewall is off, which I have actually, turn it off with the help of group policies. And IP address is B4, that is fine. IPv6 also enabled, but we do not require actually. And as you can see here, 6 GB of memory is allocated to this particular machine, and total disk space that we have is 59.4 GB, which is actually I have allocated 60 GB. Okay, so this is our CPU and blah blah blah. You can see multiple things here, so that will be fine. So now coming to the point, so what I have to do, I have to mount that ISO media which I have just shown to you, which is Citrix Virtual App and Desktop 7. So I think right now, that particular ISO file has been updated and version will be different. So I will recommend you to go with the latest version which is available. Okay, for your test lab. So right now I have that ISO file. So open it. It is connected, mounted. Click OK. Now we have to go to the file explorer. This PC, as you can see here, our ISO media is mounted. So let me click on install or run program. Click yes. So now, as I have explained you, like in this particular part, what we have to do, we have to install and configure the delivery controllers and other core components. Okay, so in this session, we will focus on this particular topic only. So what are the use of delivery controller and other core components, that I will let you know in upcoming sessions, like how to manage Citrix Studio, what is Citrix Director, and what are other core components. Okay, whatever it is, I will explain each and every topic. But in this particular video, we are just installing and configuring the things. Okay, so as you can see here, our ISO file is mounted. So right now, as you can see here, for the deployment type, so we have two options here, like either we can virtualize the application and we can virtualize the application and desktop both. So I think if you have ever worked with Citrix, so in that case you will see there might be some applications only we can publish to the end users. In for those applications, there is no desktop required. Just suppose when user login into the web browser, after that he will see application like Excel or any other application. In that case, once he clicks on the Excel icon, so only Excel file is visible, will be visible to him actually. So uh, this is what we call is virtual apps. But for our learning perspective, we will go with virtual apps and desktops, and in that I will let you know how to publish only applications and applications with the desktop to end users. So we will select the second one. So now as you hello.
हाँ जी आवाज आ रही है
Actually, I thought I lost my internet. Anyway, is it my voice is fine?
yes
Okay, so
screen is not there
okay, you lost my screen. Just give me a moment. Just let me know once it is visible to you. Okay.
yes visible now
Okay. So as you can see here, not here. That I have already explained to you. So as you can see, this particular machine we have to configure as a delivery controller. Okay. So we have to select that option, like we have to configure with the delivery controller, and these are the core components. So in this session we will configure director, studio, and license server, and storefront, and rest other of the stuff is optional. So I will let you know what is session recording, what is universal print server, and the other option like authentication services, so that we will cover. Okay, so we will go with the delivery controller.
Mhm.
So are you always works in night shifts?
yes
Okay, so means your roster is kind of different by every week, or it's a fixed shift for you?
it's kind of fixed like uh, shift start 8:30 or sometimes 7:30 get
Okay,
finished around 6:30 or 5:30
so are you working for 12 hours? Like from 7 to 6, like
ten
it's
ten
almost
ten 10
11.
if it's 7:30
Mm-hmm.
then it ends in at 5:30 if it start at 8:30 that and it's 6:30 10 hours
Oh, okay. Anyway, so as usual, always we have to accept the license, and these are the terms and condition. I'm not going to read each and every word, so that is fine. I have read and understood. Click on next. Now, as I told you, these are the core components like a delivery controller. We have to select this one for sure. Studio, director, and license server. These are the core components, and we are going to configure all the core components on this particular machine only. The reason is that in production, we always prefer to use separate servers to configure separate things like studio, director, and license server. But for our testing perspective, as we are running short of the hardware resources, so what we will do, we will configure all the components on a single machine, okay, for our learning perspective. But in production, you will get all the products configured on the separate servers. Got it?
yeah.
Okay, so click on next. So these are the features that we have to install, like SQL 2019 and Windows Remote Assistant. So if we have any separate SQL or database server in our organization, in that case we can uncheck this and we can connect the entire database to our SQL server. Okay, so but as we are running short, so we are not going to deploy any separate SQL server, and we will install the SQL server in this particular machine only. Got it?
Okay.
Okay, and what is Windows Remote Assistant? I'm sure you have some idea about it. It's a kind of, remote access tool for
Yeah,
Microsoft,
I got it.
correct?
Mhm.
So click on next. So these are the port numbers, and you have to remember all the port numbers. Means if you in the future, if if you will go for any kind of interview, these are the important port numbers which can be asked by the interviewer. Okay, so for delivery controller, port number 80, 89443, all are the TCP ports. For director, Citrix Director is a kind of tool through which we can easily take a remote of all the virtual machines which are hosted in our hypervisors or into our network. We can easily take remote access of all the virtual machines with a single console. Okay, that I will know how to take remote of all the VDI or virtual machines. Okay, and these are the port numbers for our license server. And what is license server? I think you have some idea about, like, we have to pay to the vendor, correct, for using the license. So basically these are the port numbers for license server, and with those port numbers a license server will communicate with the cloud. Okay, and it will check the license for all the VDIs that we are allocating to the end user. So we have two options here. Either we can manually configure all the ports, means either we can manually open all the ports into the firewall, or we can select automatically. In that way it will automatically open all the ports in the firewall. Why? Because we have logged in into that particular machine with an administrator user account. Okay, so that will work for us. So I'm not going to open each and every port manually. I'm selecting automatically, then we have to click on next. So as you can see here, this is a summary. So these are the installation directory. As you can see here, C program file and Citrix. These are the prerequisites like 4.8 and blah blah blah. And these are the core components that we have selected, like delivery controller, studio, director, and license server. These are the features and these are the port numbers which will be going to open into the firewall after this installation. Okay, let me click on install. So as you can see here, installation will take somewhere around 20 minutes, and it's totally up to the hardware configuration. But as per my personal experience, it may take up to 25 or 30 minutes. So we have to wait, and at the time of installation, uh, it will prompt us to reboot our server multiple times, and after every reboot, we have to log in again with the same user account, that is Citrix admin, from which we have started the installation. Okay, so so uh, let's wait for it. It will take a while. So let me go here into that slide. So as you can see here, what we are trying here, like what I am trying here to explain, like, now we have covered those two virtual machines, and okay, and in upcoming videos we will cover those. So we are just creating a small kind of data center for our practice perspective. Okay, so once
Okay.
data center will be created, then I will let you know how to access virtual machines. Okay, how to troubleshoot them, and every troubleshooting perspective, I will let you know what are the common issues, what are the common errors that we can get into our domain if we found any virtual machine down, or if user will unable to access any virtual machine, how to troubleshoot them, what are the probable costs. So that is the only thing. Apart from that, I have a long PDF file as well with me, but right now I do not want to share that particular PDF file with you, because it have more than 100 pages and you will get confused without any infra. So first we will go with the practicals, then I will share you the those particular theoretical part. Okay, so just let me know if there is any confusion in that, in particular, this session. What we actually did, we have already configured one domain controller, and now we are configuring the delivery controller, which is a core component of Citrix. And with that particular delivery controller, what we will do, we will manage all the virtual machines. We can create the machine catalog, we can create particular BDI to user as per the requirement, we can publish the applications to end user. Okay, and multiple things we can do. So Is there any confusion so far?
No, no, not that much. Like, it's a
Hmm. So
installation of.
we are creating the infra, like we are creating kind of data center. Okay. So
Okay.
if I go here into the domain, like a domain controller, so let me enter the password here, and into the computers we have got, okay, just forget about that big fix. This is a different session with different student. Okay, so in this we have ddc1 and we have one Windows 10 client machine, that is fine. Into the domain controller we have this, and how much experience you have on domain controllers?
Not that much experience I have actually. I haven't worked that much.
Okay,
Like
so
one or
if I
one or
asked
few
you
like I
that I
worked.
have to create one user here, how you will do that?
Mhm.
Means will be able to create a user
You
here?
can right click on
Mm-hmm.
go to the user.
Mm-hmm. I can right
Just right
click
click.
here, new, then user, correct?
Go to the new and you can go to the user, or you can right click on the screen
Yeah, that
on the other
knowledge is
blank
fine.
screen.
And apart from that, how much experience do you have, for like, group policies?
I haven't worked on group policy that much actually. I wanted to know about that.
Okay, so into the domain controller, we have group policy management, and with that group policy management, we can apply any group policy on the systems or users which are connected into our domain. So just for example, like, okay, so our machine is prompted to reboot, so close it. We are about to sign out. So let's wait for it. So it will ask multiple times to reboot, and every time we have to reboot. Okay.
Mhm.
So now we have to log in with the same user account, that is Citrix admin. We have to enter the password, and after that we have nothing to do. Installer will be automatically launched and it will continue to work. Okay.
Okay.
So as you can see here, I have deployed one wallpaper into all of my virtual machine, which is my wallpaper, that is techamtech.com. So what I actually did, I have not manually set that wallpaper into my virtual machine. Okay. I have configured that
Mhm.
wallpaper with the help of group policy. So if I show you here into my default domain policy, let me click on edit. So if you can see here into the user configuration policies, then templates, then desktop, then here into the desktop, then as you can see, we have one policy here,
That's
which
the
is
wallpaper you have
desktop
enabled.
wallpaper, which is enabled. And what I did actually, when I click here, so as you can see here, I have just mentioned the path of the wallpaper,
Path.
okay, and apply. So means with the help of group policies, we can automatically manage all the computers which are connected into our
You have put in the path, and then you have, where did you save that image?
here.
It
If
in
if
every
I
computers you save that image, or like
no, this is a shared path. Like if I
shared one? Okay.
if I open that path, so you can see here, this is the wallpaper, okay, and this is a network path, and I have
Okay.
shared that particular folder with my domain controller only. As you can see here, GPU, and we have this wallpaper. If I
It is
open it,
DC.
yeah, this is my wallpaper, okay.
Okay.
So in that way means it is a kind of example, means like, it is for desktop only, but in that
Mm.
way we can open any firewall, we can install some softwares. We have much of the security and folder reduction settings. Multiple things are there. Okay. So I'm just explaining like with the help of group policies what we can do actually. So as you can see here, right now it's
Okay.
installing Microsoft SQL Server. So let's wait for it. And as you can see here, what we are getting 369 minutes remaining. So do not worry for that. It will not take that much of time.
Okay. 360.
It will take hardly up to 10 minutes only. So if I check my host, CPU utilization is 72%, memory is 14 GB are in use. That is fine. Okay, that is fine. Let's wait for it. So in the daytime, you always used to sleep just because of your night shift. What
No,
are
no, I don't sleep.
what are your like
What time? At daytime, yeah, daytime I sleep actually.
mhm. So what about your
After shift,
off
I
days? Off days like Saturday, Sunday, or any other alternate days you have?
only Sunday.
No Saturday?
Only Sunday. No, actually, work from home. No Sunday.
Okay.
That's why I was planning to switch from that job
Mhm.
from night shift.
That is fine. And what is your current job profile here? Like your post
It's
and
a
your day
desktop
to
support. It's kind of like desktop support we provide. We get a calls from the customers. They have an issue with their computers, anything, the basic things like
yeah,
maintenance,
something
etc.
relevant to Outlook and other issues like Teams not working, Outlook not
Right,
working, that
right.
kind of issues. Okay. Even I
Anything.
have worked on that profile as well in early stage of my career. So
Okay.
I still remember how users calls they sometimes they users be like
Mhm.
I have unable means I'm unable to work, and it's a kind of hot talk sometimes happens with users like.
Mm,
Anyway, it's a part of our job and we have to handle the users. So anyway, it is a
mm.
learning part. So I have already learned multiple things and you have to learn.
You
And
also
how?
you working from work from home.
Ah, yes,
Okay.
but I have my general shift only like from 11 to 6.
Okay.
And in the night, I used to, take sessions for my students. And you know, yesterday I was taking session like, it's somewhere around 3 o'clock in the morning. So after that
In
I
which company you're working right now?
sorry
In which company you're working right now?
that I cannot tell right now. The reason is that our session
Mhm.
is being recorded if I upload it somewhere. So
Right, right.
okay, so
Okay, I got it.
that I will text you. Okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
So, because sometimes in editing part we I can forget that
Yeah,
thing to edit because it's a long session. Okay, so
yeah, right.
that is the
You
only
have to go
reason.
through with all of this.
Yeah. So anyway, as you can see here, our SQL server is installed, and now it is installing the web server IIS services. So do you have any idea what is Microsoft Internet Information Services and why it is used?
Microsoft Internet Information Services.
Mhm. It is a web
No
server.
idea.
It
Like
is a web server. With the help of IIS, we can easily create a,
yes,
we can easily create a file server or any website. Whatever is required, we can
yeah,
create.
it's
Okay.
yes, right.
Mm.
It's a complete name of that
Yeah.
internet information service. Right.
Correct.
It's the same as IIS is.
It is
uh,
IIS, no? The name is just
right.
Microsoft Internet Information Services. So if you remove
Same.
that Microsoft, that is IIS. So
Right.
installation is
Right.
done and now it is installing the core components. So let's wait for it. So right now, as you are working in your night shift, so you are supporting
Mhm.
Indian users only, or you have like you aligning with some
US.
international user? Okay, US user.
Only US.
Okay, okay, got it. Even in 2000, I think in 2016 or 17, I was on the same profile, and on that time I used to handle UK clients.
Okay.
So you told me that you are from Bangalore or Chennai. Like I forgot actually.
No, I'm from Delhi. I told you from I'm Delhi.
Okay, you are from Delhi. So right now you are on Delhi or your hometown is Delhi?
Hometown is Delhi. Everything is Delhi. Born and brought up in Delhi.
Perfect. So what are the situations right now over there for that Ambricon variant?
Yeah, it's quite well, but there's a lockdown in weekends or
So
night as well.
it is a
Not
complete
careful.
lockdown in the weekends or means
Not complete. I think it will be complete lockdown in weekends because
Mhm.
they just told that they will start lockdown in next coming weekends actually. I don't know it's complete or what they will do in that.
No, there should be some
No
like
idea.
some expect like exception should be there, correct? Like
Exceptions, it's like it might be there some exceptions like
Mhm.
we can go out or to buy something or anything. Grocery shop will be open or like that.
No,
But
no, I'm talking about the
things fine
corporate
things.
or the companies, like as
Corporate companies,
some critical
yeah,
things like
that
medicals,
companies will be
hospitals, and other stuff. So
yes,
those are
that will be
always
open.
be opened actually.
Essential services will be open.
Yeah, essential services. They have to open actually. But
Right.
let's hope because lockdown is very bad thing actually. I have
Yeah.
not only I, everyone have suffered from last 2 years. So it is not a good thing.
Yeah, last year I was at a home only like 8 months. I didn't work anywhere for 8 months complete. It was long.
Okay, even in the first lockdown, I was at my village, which is if you heard about like Bidisha, so that is just nearby Bhopal. So I was at
Okay.
my village, and it's a very kind of a small town of things, and I used to work from home from
You're from Bhopal.
yeah.
Okay.
So on that time, I used to work from my village only, and in my village there is a river like called Betwa, and I always sit in front of that river, and I used to work from
That's
home, and I did that thing for next 8 months at that time. But
mhm.
after that, right now I'm an Indore, so I am working from home here as well, but right now not in my hometown. So I have some dependencies for which I have to reach out Indore again and again. Those are the personal
What kind
things
of
for me.
minimum package? What kind of minimum package they provide to their employee in data center or Citrix?
Okay,
Let's
so
start with. Right.
Okay, so for L2, minimum is 14 lakhs per annum. Okay, but for L1 support, it should be at least 10 lakhs per annum for L1. Okay,
Mm,
and for L3, it's more than 20 or 25. So
Right.
it depends actually. So right now you are preparing for L1, okay, not for L2 directly, because L2
Mm,
requires some running experience. Got it?
Right. Right.
So as you can see here, our installation part is almost finished, and now it is initializing the components. So it will take a while. After that, we will launch Citrix Studio. Let's wait for it.
Is there any kind of uses in with Citrix like SD-WAN or something like that or not?
No, no.
About that or not?
Look, SD-WAN is a requirement, not Citrix requirement. Like, we have to explore our network. So we can use
Right.
SD-WAN or we can use any MPLS. It's up to us now. Like
Right.
which network service, or even you can continue with the broadband. So if you want, very much higher bandwidth, in that case, you have to go with MPLS. But and we have some companies or, some organization which are not that much large. So what they guys do, they guys configure SD-WAN. Okay, just because they cannot afford the MPLS, because MPLS is quite costly, huge. It is.
Costly, right.
SD-WAN is cheaper if we compare with MPLS, and we can go with broadband as well. It is quite cheaper. So, but also we will require some bandwidth now. So that is the only reason why many kind of organizations prefer that.
Bank also use MPLS or like for their
They always
networking,
they
like
always use MPLS.
on transaction and all, they use that network.
They always use MPLS. So we have two options here. Now, either we can configure MPLS in our head office, which may be located in Mumbai, Delhi, or any other metro cities, correct? And for small
Mhm.
branches, they can prefer SD-WAN. Just suppose if you have head office in Delhi and you have some branch which is located in any village, and you do not have that much of traffic on that particular branch. So in that case, what you will do, you can prefer SD-WAN for that particular branch. But for your HO, you have to go with that MPLS, correct?
Right.
Because multiple branches will be going to communicate to your head office. So that is the only reason.
Right.
So what we will do, we will try to finish this in by Monday, because today is Thursday, and how much
Mm.
sessions we have, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are the important sessions that we have to cover before Monday, and this is the for testing perspective, and 10th one is for troubleshooting and backup plans. So that is fine. So we can take time for that because it is a testing part. So we have to finish these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like if we covered one sessions per day, and okay, you do not have any holiday on Saturday, na?
No.
So is it possible to yeah, for you to available Sunday for at least two sessions? Like in that way we can
Yes,
cover.
yes.
Okay, then again it is taking some time. Let's wait for it. So in a meantime, if I click on start, you can see here Citrix Studio is there. If I expand this,
Mm.
you can see Citrix Director, Citrix Scout, and Studio is there, and also SQL Server is there. Okay,
Mhm.
so these are the core components of Citrix. So let's wait for it. Actually, it is still initializing the components. So as you can see here, IIS services is also there, okay? And Windows
Mm.
Remote Assistant tool, it should be there, that we will search later. I'm not sure what is the correct path for that. Anyway, it should be there as we have installed, okay? So
Mm.
now we do not want to collect any data, and I do not want to connect into cloud login for now. So just click on finish. And now it is asking to launch Citrix Studio. So that is fine. We have to launch it. So click on finish. After that, it will launch the Citrix Studio, and the next screen, it will be a console to manage the entire Citrix infra. Okay, so let's wait for it. For the first time, it may take some time, but that is fine. I do not want Cortana here. That is fine. So
You're talking about this computer that you will give access for learning or to practice
yeah, I'm talking about
or
this
the
particular computer only, but also I told you to arrange some physical hardware. If you can arrange, that will be fine for you. But if
uh,
you want
i-
this, I will.
in one video that you were saying in your Azure videos, like we can create a virtual machine in that as well
In
in
Azure,
Azure.
correct? We can create, but just listen. The reason is that just suppose if I am doing virtualization in this particular machine, why I am unable, means why I am able to do that? The reason is that I have enabled virtualization from my BIOS, correct?
Virtualization from BIOS,
So
right? But they
what?
disabled it in their
Yes,
BIOS.
but
It
in the
happens
case
this.
of Azure or any cloud platform, what you will do, you will access a virtual machine, not a physical hardware. And into that particular
Right.
virtual machine, you are trying to virtualize that particular machine, which is not possible actually.
Okay.
Means we cannot just suppose we have created that DDC1, okay, as a virtual machine. So now I will not be able to create any virtual machine into that particular virtual machine. What you are actually trying to do for into your Azure? Are you getting my point? What I'm trying to say?
Right. Right. It's not a physical as well.
Yeah, it is a virtual machine. Okay, so now here is the console of Citrix Studio. So now in our next session, what we have to do, we have to set up a site, okay, and we have we will set up one particular site, but before setting up any site, we have to install the hypervisors, okay, which is our Gen Server 01. Okay, so in tomorrow session, we will cover this. Okay, I will let you know how to install and configure the hypervisor, and after that, we will be able to configure our site. Okay, so that's it in that session. If you have any questions so far, you can ask, or else we will connect in tomorrow, means in today's evening or tomorrow morning, whatever is preferable for you.
Sure.
Okay, so if you have I think there is nothing complicated in that session. What we actually did, we have just installed some core components and features and some prerequisites
Right.
from that ISO file. Okay, and we have configured it as a delivery controller. We have just installed some softwares in that session. We have nothing configured. Okay, but we have selected some options like what are the port numbers and other stuff. And after that
Core
video,
components.
we will configure a setup. Okay, so far we are just creating the virtual machines and we are installing the softwares, correct?
Okay. So we can manage our virtual machine from this
This console. Once, but
this
before that, we have to set up
Citrix
site.
Studio.
Yeah, Citrix Studio.
Okay.
It is a kind of portal. From here, you can easily virtualize machines to end users. You can like manage some permissions for end users, and you can publish the applications to end user. There is multiple stuff is there. You can restrict user to accessing few things. It's up to, I mean, as per the company
As like
requirement.
as like a host, as like a HostGator, GoDaddy, like if they
Correct,
provide a
correct,
server
correct.
or
They
VPS, like they
provide,
also manage or use from there.
Yes,
storing
it is
like
a kind of
something.
H panel, means as you have heard about the H panel, from which means those guys are means like like those platforms, they guys will allow you to manage few options only, correct, not each and everything.
Right.
But from here you can manage the entire infra. Why? Because it is a private data center for you or for your
Right.
organization which you are managing, correct? But those are the
Right.
public things.
Right. Right.
Okay, buddy. So have a nice day. So
Sure. Sure.
now you
You
have to
too.
sleep and I have to do some other
Sure.
stuff. So
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
yeah, bye bye. It's a good night for you and we
Okay.
will
Bye-bye.
meet soon. Okay. Bye.
Sure. Okay.